It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio today. We're going to talk about defensible space today, wildfire season with Yavapai County Emergency Management. Ron Sotman in studio. Welcome back.
Hello, sir.
And Tracy is the Emergency Management Specialist. Tracy DeShiel, welcome to studio for the first time. Tracy is going to be my go-to gal when it comes to wildfires this year. Hopefully we don't have any evacuations, right?
Right.
Hopefully I don't have to talk to you at all, or you, Ron.
That would be
other
perfect.
than today. That would be perfect, wouldn't it? Let me ask you this before we get into the defensible space. Did you guys have a busy winter with a couple of the storms we did have?
Yes, sir, we did. We actually had quite a bit of business, unfortunately. Between trying to monitor and track the snowfalls that were coming, because we always want to be prepared, and we've had historically, as you're aware, as like in 1993 and in some later years, we've had some significant flooding due to large accumulations of snowfall in the pack that comes, and then you get that immediate
warm storm right on top of that snow. Yeah,
exactly. So, and unfortunately, we did on, if I'm not mistaken, it was Valentine's Day. It was the 14th of February. We had a pretty significant runoff that came down through Oak Creek Canyon and ultimately came all the way out through the Verde,
right,
down on the lower end. So
yeah, we had some flooding and some homes were damaged and things of that nature, right?
Yes.
Yep.
But nothing like 93. I think a lot of us will never forget 93. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, the website is yavapai.us for all the information about anything going on in Yavapai County. You can go just to yavapai.us. All right, so you guys have been meeting, obviously, with the fire specialists around the state. What is the prediction for our wildfire season?
Well, currently, I think things are good in respect to the idea that we've had some really good snowfall this year and good moisture content in snowpack. However, as we've been telling everybody, and recent information that's come out has been trying to reinforce it, Arizona will have a fire season. We're never in a position that that's not going to happen. Severity always varies from year to year. So this year is the way it's being structured at this point. They're calling it a normal fire season. That is to say that it's not as extreme as we may be able to experience in Arizona, but we will have a fire season. We're not going to be in a situation where we don't have one. So we're being prepared, and they're looking at the fine fuels and the grasses that are in some of the lower regions are going to be the immediate threat. And then, as most Arizonans know, as that changes as the year moves on into the summer, it begins to get hotter, that burning time or availability of fuel to be burned due to moisture and all the different aspects of that will move gradually north. And so right now we're looking at the lower areas. Like we discussed, there was there's
a fire. Well, Whitman.
Yes, correct.
Whitman had a fire. What was it? I think last night when I went to bed, it was at 180 acres. So, being fanned by high winds, which is typical for the spring. But you're right. This year's a normal fire season here, where the last 3 years we've had these really dry winters, and so I think last year our fire season started kind of in February, where this year it's kind of normal, where it looks like end of April, May, June. May and June is always wildfire season in Arizona, right? I mean, it's always until the monsoon hits. Then things kind of taper back a little bit. But then we got our lightning strikes. Yes. And so that can be a thing too. It's interesting to watch how the state, from winter into spring, how the state wakes up. The southern half of the state is definitely wide awake. It's been growing. The grasses are green. The flowers have come up. And all that stuff is starting to dry out already where, like the Verde Valley, driving down Cornville Road, I pay attention to that to see just how green it's getting, and it's starting to green up. You go up to the Flagstaff region, and everything is still pretty much kind of still sleeping. It's still brown from last year, and it hasn't quite woke up yet. So we just kind of watch that fire season kind of climb up the state, don't we?
Yeah.
And then I've had the forest guys tell me how eventually, once our wildfire season's over, they watch it move into Colorado and Utah and just right up the west coast until it's in Oregon, Washington, and we follow along and we just keep swapping out resources and trading as we go along.
Absolutely,
I think it's pretty interesting to watch how that happens each year. And this year, you're right. We've got a normal wildfire season, right?
Right.
Correct.
It's going to be normal. So May, June are our hot months. June the hottest.
Yes.
And these fuels that are going to be growing will be drying out by then. So
correct.
We'll have to be careful. We've already started our stories about. We should probably hit up some of these things too. It's just some of the things people can do, the day-to-day kind of chores that we do around our properties and stuff, to just kind of be a little more careful. Driving down the road, for instance, too. Things we could do to make sure we don't start any fires. You got any suggestions, Tracy? Tips?
Yes, make sure your gutters are clean.
Okay.
If you have items around your house, be sure to move those away. I've seen houses in the past where they've had propane tanks sitting right next to their homes, and those need to be removed.
Like the portable propane tanks
yes.
that you put on a camper, say? Okay.
Or for like a barbecue.
Okay.
You want to remove those and keep those away from your home. Lumber, those need to be moved away from your home. Just keep your yard clean. Break up your leaves. Move those away.
Leaves, pine needles,
yes.
all that good stuff. We were talking before the show that during the slide fire in Oak Creek Canyon, I was at the Green Tree Plaza in Flagstaff, and I was in the back parking lot, and I had about a quarter-size piece of ash fall in front of me. Well, my house is 10 minutes south of Flagstaff, so if that ash flew all the way to my place where I was standing, so I had to run home real fast and talk about that. So. And
I've seen where that ash lands on a cushion for like patio furniture and starts a fire and can burn down a house. And there'd be like an acre around where there's no, sign of fire, but a house is burnt in the middle of that forest because of that piece of ash landing on a cushion.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, there's something to think about, huh?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, inside out that time.
Yes.
So that you're talking defensible space.
Yes.
Yeah, defensible space. That's what we're pushing right now, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And then also there's other preparatory items that we can always make sure that people are doing, and getting their prescription stuff together and making sure their go kits are ready, getting their pets addressed, making sure they have kennels accessible. Never let your fuel in the vehicle below half a tank. There's always these preparatory things that you can do.
Right.
Monitor your chains when going down the roadway. Like we discussed earlier, as those fine fuels begin to dry out and people are traveling, it's summertime, they're pulling trailers and they're all-terrain vehicles, things of that nature. Make sure those chains are picked up and
that season is firing up, isn't it? Yeah,
yes.
I'm seeing more and more campers on the interstate, and so we're going to be seeing the quads. I don't know if the Forest Service has a whole lot of roads up north open up, but we do here.
Yes.
This far up we do. Yeah, so there's definitely opportunity to be out there with stuff like that. We saw that a lot last year. I was surprised, as a matter of fact, how many times I did stories about that. Prescott Valley, it seemed like, was getting hit pretty hard by the dragging chain syndrome. Yep. Sunset Point Rest area.
Yes.
I mean, how often I can't believe there's anything to burn out there anymore. With as many times as they've got Sunset Point I-17 closed, it's amazing that each year it sets fire again. So I think they've even had a fire down there already recently. Yeah. And then we've got the one down in Whitman. So there it is. It's wildfire season's already starting in the southern part of the state. So it's just working its way up. We've got to take our first break. Yavapai County Emergency Management's Ron Sotman and Tracy DeShiel in studio today. The website is yavapai.us. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Protect yourself and those around you from flu. Here's 3 things you should do. Get a flu vaccine each year. Take everyday preventive actions to stop the spread of germs, like covering coughs and sneezes and washing your hands, and stay home if you're sick. If you do get the flu, contact a healthcare professional right away and take flu antivirals if prescribed. Don't be a dreaded spreader. Take 3 steps to fight flu.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter, your religion or, what part of the world you're from, that just sort of all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
Yo siento que soy parte de esa bendición que ese niño recibió al irse a su casa ya sanado.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Mandalay Homes introduces the new Ion series, a revolutionary new approach to home building innovation and energy management. Built on a foundation of industry-leading energy efficiency and sustainable building practices, the Ion Series Home redefines how we use and manage renewable energy. Contact a Mandalay Home sales executive today to learn more, or visit one of our Ion Series communities throughout northern Arizona.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking defensible space with Yavapai Emergency Management today. Ron Sotman and Tracy DeShiel in studio. Yavapai.us is the website. A little more on the defensible space. You had mentioned something, Ron, during the break there, and Tracy too, that we should be leaving maybe some of our resources out for firefighters in case a fire does come through the neighborhood. Talk about that a little bit, because I had never thought about that before.
Well, hand tools, your rakes, your shovels, the firefighters could come in and use that as well as your hoses. So when there's a fire coming, make sure you leave the hose out for them to utilize.
Garden hose.
Yeah,
garden just leave
hose.
It hooked up.
Yep. You can help your firefighter by doing that.
Wow, okay. I never thought about doing that before, but yeah, leave a hard rake out and a shovel and a few things like that, and then they do go through a neighborhood, though, and they'll say, okay, this one's savable, this one's not savable. They are going to go to the houses that are the most likely to be saved.
Right.
That's
I mean, if I've got a mountain of junk in my yard and bushes and weeds and dead this and dead that, that's going to be kind of looked at as a lost cause. I hate to say that, but that's their reality.
Right. Well, just for a couple of reasons. I mean, there is the issue of, is it even feasible to be able to defend the area? But then that also, it's a factoring of making sure that the firefighters themselves are protected and not exposing themselves into an area that truly is not achievable to be protected. You can't protect it. So not subjecting them into a bad environment as well. That's a part of that calculation.
Okay.
Right, and the time too. If you have a house that has a lot of work that needs to be done, you have two houses that are pretty fire-wise, they'll try to save the two. I mean, by spending more time on the one that is not taken care of.
True.
You know, they can spend more time on the other ones that are more manicured and save more houses.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Tracy mentioned the 5 Ps real quick too. Is people, pets. You mentioned pets seem to get left behind a lot, which is something you would never do, and I don't know that I could do it either. But pets, prescriptions. Most definitely want prescriptions, pictures, and then your personal computer. Pictures could probably be on your personal computer too, but those are the 5 Ps you're supposed to take with you. So I was telling them before the show that I've got all that stuff kind of set up as I first go into my house. I'm ready to go if indeed we have to evacuate. We have fire-wise communities in Yavapai County. Matter of fact, I think that's kind of a feather in our cap, isn't it?
It is, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually, Yavapai County can boast the first actual organized fire-wise communities in the nation. So that's a claim to fame, if you will, in regards to that. They're a very proactive group. They've been in place for a number of years. If I'm not mistaken, we have 40+ fire-wise communities in the Basin area, Prescott area. Okay. And then now we have also continued to broaden that spectrum. Jerome, the city of Jerome or the town of Jerome is now fire-wise, and they've been working on it diligently for at least a couple of years now, and they've begun having very good, productive conversations with communities in Sedona. So it is broadening, and we're reaching a lot of these communities that are impacted by wildfire.
What does it mean to be fire-wise?
Fire-wise is to make sure that number one, it's the organization of the community itself, and it can be like with an HOA or any kind of a structured organization for an individual community. They develop some leadership that help kind of manage the process of Firewise, which is gathering funding via grant and other mechanisms that help offset cost for the individual homeowner to be able to go out and create defensible space and Firewise those individual homes throughout that given neighborhood.
Gotcha.
And then one of the things that I believe is a huge factor that we want to get out to folks is if they're looking at doing something like that, there's a lot of what we call cascade effect that comes from that, making good decisions and being Firewise. We have a flooding issue throughout Yavapai County globally. And one of the things that Firewise does is by eliminating a lot of that debris and that low-hanging stuff and getting your place properly prepped, you then limit flooding debris that always comes with fires after the fact. So we have the wildfires, then we get monsoon rains, and it creates flooding condition. There's a bigger process that comes from being fire-wise that is ultimately beneficial to the environment, and it's also beneficial in the event of future incidents. So it's truly one of the most perfect forms of mitigation that we support.
And that's right on Emergency Management's website, right at the bottom of that page. I saw that there today.
Yes.
So again, yavapai.us. If you go into Public Works, you got to go into Public Works to find Emergency Management, because Dan Cherry's in.
Correct. Yeah.
Dan Cherry's the head of the Public Works Department. So that's where you're going to find Emergency Management, is under Public Works on the county website. There's a couple of other now. We should mention real quick. We want to mention real quick too. Free slash drop off. That is not easy to say. Free slash drop off is going on. It started April 1st. It goes to June, but it happens every single year.
Correct.
And that's so when you're making the defensible space around your house, you take that stuff. You take it to the transfer stations that are county owned. You can dump it off free of charge.
Correct.
Doesn't cost a penny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Board of Supervisors have been very proactive in that, and they really go out of their way, I think, to make that accessible to the folks.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, and there's an expense associated to the county, so it's a good thing for our citizens, and it gives them good access and be able to do that. So it just helps the bigger picture.
Yeah, they do the cleanup programs too. I think I just wrote one up yesterday. The one for Paulton came in.
Yeah.
So slowly but surely around the entire county, each community is being given an opportunity for, I want to say, about a month every weekend. For about a month, between 8 and 4 each of those days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you could take larger appliances and tires that don't have rims on them anymore, and batteries, and just the junk that's sitting around that you don't want anymore, which is, creates more of that defensible space around your property, right?
Right.
Gets that stuff out of there. So there's all that stuff going on. But the free slash drop off goes until June 1st. So all the way right through our big time of the wildfire season is right there. Okay, so we talked Firewise communities. If I wanted to make a Firewise community, I could just simply give you guys a call and figure out how to do that and get the ball rolling.
Absolutely.
Yes, you could.
Yep, you can reach out to our office, or you can go to the YavaPaiFirewise.org. That is the actual Firewise Community Association, and then they have individuals that can also assist with that process and walk you through it.
How big has Code Red been for you guys?
Code Red is huge.
Yeah.
That is the best mechanism and the one that we utilize within Yavapai County for doing mass notification. Code Red is managed by Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, so folks can either go to the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office website, or they can go to ours, and there's links within the county web pages that'll take them to Code Red, where it gives them the ability to be able to get themselves registered utilizing their cell phones, landlines, email, text messaging. They have the full spectrum of ability to communicate with the people out on the street if there's a need to either update them on a given circumstance. If evacuations occur, they broadcast the Ready, Set, Go information via Code Red, so it'll tell you, be ready, we're looking at possible evacuations, be set, we will be evacuating in, a certain time frame, and then the go message to be able to get out and get moving as quickly as possible.
All right, another break. Yavapai.us is the website. County Emergency Management, Ron Sontman and Tracy DeShiel in studio today. Stick around, Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
What does it look like when a life is truly changed?
I feel a sense of accomplishment because I built a house. This house has brought us financial independence.
It's a great place to raise a family.
Strength, fuerza. When I look back where we've come from to where we are today, it makes my heart very happy.
Potential. Potencia.
For me, this house means all of us together. Sorry. Together.
Security.
Security.
Every family dreams to have their own house. This house changed our lives.
Habitat for Humanity is at work in your community and around the world. Through shelter, we empower.
We develop quality citizens who keep our core, our country, and our communities side by side on the winning side. Not for glory, but for honor. For a code that isn't written or spoken, but lived. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's the battle cry of our fighting spirit. Battles won. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a couple minutes left in the program. We've been talking about defensible space. What do you do in case of an evacuation? Code Red, free /drop-off program through June 1st at all the county transfer stations. One thing I think we should probably mention, last year, you know, the wildfire season was just this huge scare and this huge threat because it started so soon and it was so dry. And I think we get kind of lazy and we think, oh, it's not so bad this year. We had a big winter, lots of rain, ground was wet. Doesn't take long for that stuff to dry out. Now we've got strong winds in the forecast for like the next 7 days. So that just sucks the moisture right out of everything.
Absolutely.
So it'll definitely hurry things along.
Yeah.
Last year we may have practiced a plan and talked with our kids about, okay, if for some reason there's a fire and we have to leave the house, this is where we're going to go. This is probably something we should rekindle this year.
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely something we want to do on a regular basis, no different than checking the batteries in your smoke detector, making sure that you've got some proper planning for the family and all things associated. One of the things that often gets oversighted because you don't think about it right at face value is where are the children in a given point during a day? You know, are they at school, or are they at a friend's house, or are they doing, you know, like public things? You know, they're out in the middle of the public. They're at stores.
They're at a movie. They're not home,
yes.
And you're not home.
Right. And then the evacuation comes. How do you get the family back together? Do you have a designate meeting place or alternate designate meeting places? Those are all hugely important things that need to be practiced. Absolutely.
Okay, and I think that goes with any kind of. I think even our local fire agencies talk about that too. Have the escape route out of the house, and then when you get out of the house, where you're supposed to meet.
Yes.
But in this case, outside the house probably won't be a place you'll be able to meet, so it's going to have to be someplace else outside the house.
Right.
Yeah. We do have time. Yavapai Animal Disaster Services, you guys are probably working with them because they always set up right next to the Red Cross. So if I get evacuated, my 2 cats are going to be right next door to me, so I can, you know, keep track of them, and everybody gets to stay nice and calm. And
right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's a new group called that's forming, Laser.
Laser.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not too sure on the acronym, but it deals with large animals.
Correct.
We know that for sure, and that has become a thing over the last couple of years that we've seen too.
That's correct. It's big animals need a place to go to. Laser is actually working with a lot of the communities on evacuation routes. There are quite a few llamas in the Paquito Valley area that need a plan also, just like the children.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be working with those communities as well.
Okay, all right. So they're going around and talking to the communities and finding, okay, so if we have a wildfire here, where does the livestock go?
Right.
You know, that's kind of funny because years ago, I don't remember ever doing any wildfire stories with evacuations where it was about livestock.
Mm-hmm.
But over the last several years now, with the Goodwin fire, the Yarnell Hill fire, the Dosey fire,
yes.
and a few of the others, it's all of a sudden you've got cattle. You've got horses, donkeys, llamas, alpacas.
Well, people are torn. If they can't evacuate their big animals, they're not going to leave. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
So by alleviating the pressure on getting a safe place for their big animals and their small animals, it relieves the pressure on the people evacuating as well.
Sure, yeah, get everybody out of the way so firefighters can get in there, do their job, get that fire put out, and everybody gets to go home and hopefully be happy afterwards.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well, Tracy, it was good meeting you.
Nice meeting you
We're
too.
out of time. Ron, good to see you again.
Sir.
Again, if you ever need anything, just let me know. And then I will be bugging you as well if there's anything going on that I need help with.
Excellent.
Website is yavapai.us. That's today's Countywide. Thanks so much for watching, listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.